Developing literacy and numeracy outcomes in our kids is part of our strategic plan. It forms a key plank of our plan. And we've been using the literacy and numeracy framework developed by the Department of Education to help us guide us in our journey around improving literacy and numeracy.
What teachers are really making an effort to do is to really personalise the Australian curriculum so that every single student is engaged and challenged at the right level in English and in maths, but also through every other learning area, with literacy and numeracy being general capabilities right across the board.
We've identified the key strands in literacy and numeracy that need additional help. And in our case, it's grammar and reading in literacy. And in numeracy, we've looked at our task design to improve student engagement. So we've allocated some time within the teacher's day to sit down together in groups and plan teaching and learning sequences that meet the needs of our students. The role of the lead teacher, literacy and numeracy, has been pivotal in that. So she's been working with our teams to ensure that we're meeting the identified needs that we identified in our data analysis.
One of the things that's really focused on quite heavily in the document is the conditions of learning to enable students to have success. And I think with boys especially, it's really important for them to have trust with the teacher and to feel respected. And as teachers start to better understand that and come to grips with that as it's outlaid in that document, I think we're going to have a lot of success.
I work with two other teachers. One of those is Catherine Grace, so we work a lot collaboratively. And in literacy at the moment, we're working on Writer's Workshop and Writer's Notebook. That involves students often using a visual stimulus to explore ideas, to explore text types, and then to compose and craft their own pieces of writing.
We've seen an improvement in basically three areas. Improved communication skills, the children are using different perspectives in their writing, and we're getting more creative and innovative text.
2 years ago we examined our data at Princess Street in relation to numeracy, and we found that we were lacking many resources to enable all teachers to provide quality program in numeracy. So what we have done is, having used our data, we have set up explicit teaching boxes in different areas of numeracy, both designed for early childhood and primary, which allows teachers very quick access to go and get the resources they need to allow quality teaching, and for them to be able to provide open-ended learning across all levels for children.
The grammar inquiry session that I've attended, the professional learning development, it just opened our eyes as to how best to teach grammar. I kind of wish that perhaps we had been taught this 20 years ago, because it was all about making meaning of a sentence, identifying a sentence. Children can articulate whether it's a simple, compound, complex sentence. They can talk about a stretched out noun group. They can talk about the figurative language and all the features to enhance their writing. They feel empowered because they now have the language to talk about their language.
Because we've taken a whole school approach, we worked out pretty quickly, and the research shows that expecting the English teachers or the maths teachers to be the sole provider of literacy and numeracy isn't going to work. So it needs to be embedded across the whole curriculum. So our curriculum statements, our curriculum guides, our teaching and learning sequences actually have embedded in them the specific literacy and numeracy objectives that each of those courses will deliver, and we've mapped those objectives across the school. So we know that teachers delivering that program, we're covering all of the literacy and numeracy demands that's required.
In linking with other subject areas, we looked at a photo of 4 Aboriginals in our history unit. It was once again culminating our big unit on Tasmanian Aboriginals, and we started by applying what we knew in grammar. Who's taking part, what's happening, and give me more information. The children were able to write the most amazing stretched out noun group. It was a simple sentence, they identified it as a simple sentence, but the passion, the emotions that were in that all stemmed from their understanding of basic grammar.
One of the issues we identified early up was that we have 30 different primary schools that feed to us in grade 7. Some are feeder primary schools, some are outside of our feeder zone. And there is distinct differences between the skills base of the students who come. So that presents a significant challenge in our grade 7 teachers. So we've taken the step this year of working with our feeder primary schools in particular. We send some of our grade 10 students down to work as tutors to assist the teachers in those schools in the area of literacy and numeracy, with the idea that we have more of a level playing field by the time the students reach us in grade 7.
What we're also doing is working with schools in our area and sharing numeracy practice and resources to allow us all to have a shared understanding of where we're heading with numeracy now and in the future.
One of the things that I think is really going to help us in future years is when we start getting cohorts of students in from primary schools that have worked on the same curriculum and been using the same framework document in their schools as the boys arrive to us. So we're going to see great benefit from that, I think.
The children also feel really empowered because before a task is given, we reflect on it. We know what is expected. I've made that explicit. We have a checklist or a mini rubric which we have put together as a class. They feel empowered because they know what is expected of them, they know what to deliver, they can articulate that, and they use their peer to assess each other's work.
The students are really loving it and engaged. The literacy program's working, but we know that it's going to be a long-term process. It's been great having support from team leaders, and we've been involved in a collaborative English inquiry, and that's just inspired us all to try new things. We've shared ideas with other schools and other teachers, and that's really been invaluable too, as we affirm each other and just sort of share and trade ideas that we can try with our students. So that's all been terrific.
What we've seen in the short term is significant gains in students' literacy and numeracy outcomes, and that's been fantastic. And what we're really looking forward to is modifying our programs and changing our programs to ensure long-term change.
Well, there you have it. A simple change can happen anywhere. And remember, change starts with a simple act.